Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and with Springathon coming right around the corner, which is a reading event based all on, nature and environmental writing and stuff like that. I've been doing video recommendations for each of the prompts, which this year happened to be the 4 seasons. I did my winter one already, so I'll leave a link up there in the corner for that one if you want to look at some winter kind of themed or winter inspired book recommendations. And I'll leave links down below to some of the Springathon announcement videos from the hosts that are running it. Like I said, it's just a really cool natural history kind of based nature reading event, which I don't know, just really cool. It's one of my favorite events for reading as far as the year goes and stuff. But yeah, let's just get right into it with some spring book recommendations. So first up, after a long winter, granted this winter actually didn't have tons and tons of snow, but after a long winter when it's below zero and stuff, I really enjoy when some of the migratory birds start showing up and everything from farther south. And I got a book here for The Thing with Feathers, The Surprising Lives of Birds and What They Reveal About Being Human by Noah Stryker. He's also written a couple other really good books. I think I've mentioned Birding Without Borders before, which is sort of his travel log of his big year, trying to identify, breaking the world record of the number of species seen in 1 year, which he was able to do, at least temporarily, before his record was broken. But in this book, he profiles 10 different birds and kind of just goes on a little bit about their kind of life history, kind of what they're all about, what's kind of unique about them, and just kind of gets us thinking about different things. I just really enjoyed it. This was one of the first non-field guide kind of bird books that I read. Just really enjoyed it, and that's why I've kept it for all these years. Next up is a really sad and depressing book because, I'm all about gloom and doom with half my reading and stuff, but we got Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. I got this nice Folio Society edition, though they've actually come out with another one. I think, when I bought this one secondhand, it came out, the new version came out a couple months later. I was like, But anyways, this book, while not being it's definitely readable, but you're definitely going to read more about stats and numbers and figures and the science behind a bunch of different chemicals, most notably DDT, that was extensively used in the 40s and 50s, I believe, in the early 60s, before Rachel Carson kind of started getting the ball rolling on this actually isn't that great. It's killing literally everything, including a lot of the birds and stuff. For example, even the bald eagle was suffering pretty bad just because the chemical kind of inhibits. I think it was something about the calcium in the eggshell, so they were quite thin and breaking all the time and stuff. But anyways, just a really kind of good book, kind of explaining chemicals aren't the way. Just just overusing chemicals in any way, shape, or form really just isn't the miracle solution that it was made out to be. And like I said, it kind of got the ball rolling in sort of some environmental movements and stuff. So definitely a seminal work as far as nature and kind of natural history writing goes, for sure. And then spring also kind of makes me think of fishing as well. Spring and autumn, I think that's kind of the best seasons, I think, for fishing. But I used to fish a little bit, but I wasn't super I guess crazy about it per se. But one author I really enjoy is John Garak. And he combines nitty gritty fishing stuff. He'll talk about the different places he goes, what tackle he's using and stuff. But he also kind of talks about philosophy and just different musings on the human condition, but in a really down to earth, just awesome way. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm just really glad I picked one of these up a long time ago and read it, and I was just wow, this is actually really good. So it's kind of travel memoir, fishing buddy stories with his friends, road trips, everything like that. And then what all these things kind of mean in the big picture. No Shortage of Good Days was a really good one. So like I said, he's got I think 20 books or something like that. So just really cool. And they're all kind of little collections of essays. Some of the books definitely have kind of something of a little bit of an overarching theme and stuff. But like I said, just really good, really fun, light, but you still get your mind juices flowing pretty good as well. Alright, so spring 2 is gardening, which is going to be a big thing. I'm going to try to figure out some way to incorporate gardening stuff onto the channel and whatnot. So I got 2 books on seeds, actually. The first one is my Springathon read that I'm going to try to do in May here. It's Jane Goodall's Seeds of Hope, Wisdom, and Wonder from the World of Plants. I got a couple books on Jane Goodall. She's just a really fascinating figure. I've read, you know, tons about her in other books and whatnot, and, you know, even on like TV shows and documentaries and stuff, but I've never really read one of her books that she wrote herself. So like I said, I think I have two of them. I have this one and I think Through the Window, if I remember, or something like that, which is more of like a memoir-ish one. But anyways, like I said, I just want to read it. She's got, like, if you don't know much about her besides the chimpanzee, she does more than just the chimpanzee research at Gombe and whatnot. Like her Roots and Shoots humanitarian program is just really cool, like when you learn about it and whatnot. So definitely check out Jane Goodall, like anything. I encourage you. So there, like I said, I just feel like I should read one of her actual books at some point, so I figured that'd be a great time to do it. And then another book on seeds here. Literally, this one is like about seeds. Seeds. We got The Triumph of Seeds, how grains, nuts, kernels, pulses, and pips conquered the plant kingdom and shaped human history, by Thor Hansen. Thor Hansen is a really good natural history writer. I think I've read 3 or 4 of his like popular science books. He's got one on bees that I gotta read as well. One on feathers, a couple others. And this book is literally just kind of like the history, the natural history of seeds and kind of everything that goes on with that, and like, you know, how they evolve, how they work, how they function, what differentiates different kinds of seeds, stuff like that. He also goes into like some of the kind of like seed banks and stuff, where there's a lot of kind of research institutions now that are collecting seeds to kind of keep for like, you know, humanity and humanitarian purposes, like down the road, in case things kind of happen and stuff. So I think it was kind of like interesting learning all about that, and I feel like I said, with spring seeds, like that's probably like the thing, is like getting the garden going. I think is like my big thing for spring. And kind of like in a similar vein, you know, I got this little book here, Florapedia. This one is by Carol Gracie, and actually I got a field guide coming up by Carol Gracie as well. A brief compendium of floral lore, and there's a whole slew of these. I think there's about 10 of them now. I have, let's see, I got Treepedia and Birdpedia over there. But there's a dinosaur one, like a gemstone one, an insect one, for example. And there, it's an encyclopedia per se. But there's like drawings and different things, but it's really just like kind of what the author is like interested in and kind of like wants to talk about. Obviously you can't cover a whole like floral encyclopedia in like 120 pages or whatever, I guess 180 pages or anything like that. But it's just a kind of a cool, almost like a nice like little bedside book where you're just kind of like learning different tidbits and like lore and trivia and that kind of stuff in like a fun way. Plus, like, all the books kind of like match. It's just, you know, just a really cute thing to put on your bookshelf and stuff. And then next up, I got 2 actual straight up like kind of gardening books. So this one is one I meant to read during the runner time, and I still haven't like got to it for some reason. But it's The Ecological Gardener: How to Create Beauty and Biodiversity from the Soil Up by Matt Rees-Warren. And this is all about kind of like, as the subtitle says, kind of increasing your biodiversity with different gardening practices. So like in my gardening, for example, like I don't use any chemicals or sprays of any kind, you know, stuff like that. I'm trying to lean a little, I'm going to try some more. I've tried just like a tiny bit of no-till gardening and stuff. But anyways, this is all about just different, you know, really good ecological practices to do in your yard. And from what I've read a little bit, like kind of just like flipping through it, it's not just, you know, vegetable gardening per se. There's a lot of like kind of landscapey kind of things to be, you know, pro-environmental with like your yard and garden and all that kind of stuff. So like I said, it's one I wanted to read and just haven't. But one I have been reading pretty well through here is one of my favorite like kind of big gardening books. You know, it's like cookbooks, like they're always like just how to garden kind of, but I don't know how to explain it. I have like 4 or 5 of them. But this one's A Way to Garden, a hands-on primer for every season by Margaret Roach. She's my favorite gardening person. I don't know how to explain if there's a term for it. But she does have a lovely podcast, like radio broadcast kind of thing going on called A Way to Garden that I try to listen to most weeks here. And it's just a really good book, kind of doing like talking about kind of some of the nitty gritty stuff of like gardening with tons of like good photographs. But there is a lot of kind of maybe not philosophical musings per se, but there's just a lot of good other stuff. I can't remember what her actual what her like little slogan is. It's like scientific know-how plus like the woo plus woo or something like that. So it's I'll have to like try to find that and like put that up there as well. But just I really enjoy it. And I just like love her approach to gardening and stuff, and just yeah, just trying to emulate her practices and whatnot. So that's why I have that one. And then for some spring stuff, I have tons of field guides, and I included a couple winter field guides. So I figure why not include some field guides for spring. Bees, when the bees are starting to come out, you know, they've been dormant all winter and stuff. I got bumblebees of North America. I think I also have bees of the Northeast somewhere over there. Don't ask me why I grabbed the bumblebee. Am I gonna keep that in? I am too lazy to edit that. We're keeping that in. Anyways, don't ask me why I don't have the honeybee one. I can't find it, which means like someone probably borrowed it and hasn't brought it back. But anyways, we got bumblebees in North America. This has, oh geez, Paul Williams, Robin Thorpe, Leif Richardson, and Sheila Kalla. I've used it a couple times. I'm a weirdo, and I like sometimes pat. You can actually pat bumblebees. I wouldn't do it if you're allergic to bees, probably. But if they're actually like busy pollinating and just like having a good time, they're actually really chill. If that makes sense. I almost call them like pollen drunk and stuff. So, anyways, I've used it before, and I've identified a couple different bumblebees in my area. So, just had a lot of fun with that one. And then the one I need to start using a little bit more. There's a spring one and a summer one. So, you know. Foreshadowing here for this summer video that I'm going to be doing in the near future here. We've got Kel Gracie's Spring Wildflowers of the Northeast, a natural history. So this profiles a lot of the common wildflowers that you can find in the kind of New England region during the spring months that are flowering. So yeah, just really cool stuff. You know, we got like one of my favorites that's pretty common, pretty easy to find is the trout lily. Let's see if I can just like find how easy that is to find in the back here. Trout lily, page 189. Anyways, like I said, just really easy to use. I've used it a couple times, but I need to break it out quite a bit more. It's kind of not really a good field guide in the sense unless you have like a big backpack or something. Just because it's one more like you take pictures of and just kind of use once you get home. And then lastly, for the last spring thingy, spring book recommendation, I have the Penguin Green Ideas collection, which I don't know, just the whole rainbow thing kind of evokes springtime to me with like, you know, I've had white and like gray and blue, like light blue, like all winter, right? You know, just like a pop of color just feels really spring to me. And these are just little either short, I don't even know how you call them, I guess long essays from a bunch of different different selection of writers, or it's like different selections of their works, of like longer works in kind of like a short book format. We got lots of really cool authors here. We got like Edward Wilson, E.O. Wilson, Robin Wall Kimmerer. Let's see what else we got. Aldo Leopold. Let's see, Wendell Berry, Jared Diamond, you know, Michael Pollan. So a bunch of really famous like nature authors, and kind of distilling things into kind of like a short format, whether it's kind of like, you know, kind of an expanded chapter of like one of their previous works, or I think some of them are unique, written for this collection as well, but I haven't gone through all of them yet. But yeah, it is something I kind of plan on doing at some point and then reviewing the collection. But there you have it. Those are a bunch of spring titles that I have. And I had a ton more. Spring and summer, like, I think really easy when you have a lot of nature books. Spring and summer is kind of easy to gather books for. But anyways, let me know what kind of nature books or just books in general remind you of spring. Love to know down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. And always remember, whether you're reading a book on spring or not, read victoriously.